Okay, I feel a bit flustered, I'm not gonna lie. I've been waiting for my battery to charge, and then whilst I was waiting, I was just on the Theatre Royal website, and I've decided to book Panto tickets for next Christmas. I've got a good deal. I got them for £30. So my 2019 and 2020 tickets are booked for the Panto. Anyway, welcome back to my channel. Today I am, bear with me, filming my pregnancy Q&A video because I said I would do one and then time just ran away, and here I am sat down answering your questions. This time I took to my YouTube account. It's where I normally ask questions now, just because I know some people don't have social media and don't have Instagram. So I've got quite a few. I don't know how long I'm going to film for, what comments I'm going to answer. I haven't even sat down and read them all. I just know I've got quite a few. So an easy question to start with is, what's your due date? If you've watched all my updates, you'll know that I'm quite confused, or was confused, and now it's by the by, of my due date because of when I conceived. So my conception date is different to what they are dating me from. They're saying I conceived on the 8th, which I didn't. I conceived on the 23rd. So my official NHS due date is the 12th of March. My date that I had prior to appointments was the 29th of March. It's about 2.5 weeks difference. I'm still sat here confused as to how that is physically possible, but there we go. So I'm just going for middle of March, mid-teens I think is when I will be due. So currently when filming this I'm 18 plus 1, and I have my 20-week scan in just over 2 weeks. I reckon this is going to go up after. I'm not 100% sure, and I need to sort out all my uploads. Leading on from that, actually, this is quite a good one. Controversial, but do you think you have a preference? And if so, do you think you would suffer with gender disappointment? And she put in brackets, most women are too afraid to make it known if they are, as obviously a healthy baby is paramount. So yes, healthy is obviously best and priority. Gender. I am finding out, and if you would have asked me at different points of my pregnancy, I would have said yes, I have a preference, but it's changed multiple times. So I will be doing a gender reveal as well on the day that we find out. Again, I don't know the structure of how my uploads are going to go, so this might be irrelevant. If you asked me when I first fell pregnant, or prior to falling pregnant, I would have wanted a girl, just because it's easy. I know what I'm doing. I've got everything. I know how girls work. Obviously each personality is different, but as a whole I know how girls work. I've done it before. I can do it again. It would make practicality wise easier in the sense of our home and where we live. I'll get onto that question later. I know I had that. Like the girls could share a room for a lot longer than if we had a boy. So the easiness, and I like the idea of, say I'm talking 25 years in the future, because that's how I think. It would be nice if both of my girls, children, whatever, were to go through being mums together. I really like that aspect. I don't have that, and I think I couldn't imagine sharing that and going through that with someone else. So I think that would be nice for them. So weird talking about this baby's gender, even though I have no clue what it is. Then I changed my mind and thought, actually, you know what, this is going to be my last baby, and I would really like to experience a boy. Obviously my best friend Ellie, who I talk about in all my videos, she has had a boy. So she had a girl and then she had a boy. So it would be nice to raise our 2 girls together and then raise our 2 boys together and go through having boys and also being a boy mum together. So it would be nice to have one of each, and they will share a room and we will make it work, but we would probably have to move or look at changing the dynamic of the house a lot sooner than what we would if we were having a girl. Now I'm at the point where I'm glad I don't have to make the decision. I don't know what I would pick. Neil has a preference that he would rather have a girl through the list that I have just said, out of ease, convenience and things like that, and he's not fussed about having a boy at all. So I generally don't care. I really don't. I don't think coming out of the scan when we find out the gender, either or I would be happy with. I don't think I would be disappointed through either. I feel like I'll be like, oh yeah, I see it, that's us, that's our family. I know two of my friends, I won't name them if they don't want to be, two of my friends had suffered really badly with gender disappointment. Not really badly, but they suffered with it and they didn't think that they would. So when one of my friends at the scan found out she was having a particular gender, she wasn't gutted, but she didn't see it coming. And then my other friend, she just knew in her heart of hearts what the gender was, and she wanted the other. And she flipped out in the scan, was like, I don't want to know, I don't need to know, tell my partner, don't tell me. And then eventually she was like, I know, you don't even need to tell me, I know the gender. And then you just get used to the idea. The problem, I think, from going from no weeks to 20, you have this idealistic vision in your head and you have this time to like build this imaginary family with one gender and with the other, and I can imagine you would have a preference. But currently, as I'm sat filming this, I really don't. My biggest worry is, or biggest thing is just that the baby is healthy and happy, and like pregnancy this time is terrifying because I'm so aware of things that could go wrong, not even whilst pregnant, but in like the early stages of having a newborn. I'm just terrified of it. So as long as it's healthy and happy, then I'm fine. It's hard. I really couldn't say. I don't know. My practical head is saying girl, but then again I would like a boy, but I couldn't imagine like putting a nappy on a boy. How is your pregnancy different this time round compared to your pregnancy with P? I am not naive to the fact that things can go wrong. I feel like social media these days, when I was pregnant with P, Instagram isn't what it is now. I was pregnant in 2015 and it was literally a take a photo, share it platform, whereas now it's like raising awareness for different things, and I follow obviously a lot more mums now than what I did prior. So seeing all these things just makes me think, oh my god, like what am I doing? I could sneeze and the baby might fall out, or like I might twist my stomach and I'll be like, oh my god, I've killed the baby. Like honestly, the things that go through my head is horrible, and I just want to be done with pregnancy. I'm not enjoying it as much second time round because I'm so aware of things that can happen, and like your body can just think, nah, don't want to do this anymore, and it's terrifying. Pregnancy second time round, as in with me, not just my brain, I've gained weight differently. So previously with P, I gained it everywhere and I was a balloon. I was massive. I didn't think I was. I thought I looked quite good actually, but in hindsight I did not. I looked like I'd been on steroids. My face was really big, and that's one thing I was really concerned about this time. Really vain, I know, but doing YouTube and stuff, filming myself and having 2 videos come out a week, I was worried I was going to get really big. I know I'm only basically halfway and that could still happen, but it happened a lot earlier on. So I got the pregnancy bloat in my face, boobs, hands, feet, everywhere, whereas now I just got the pregnancy bloat earlier on in my stomach. Obviously I've got bigger boobs, that is just the nature of being pregnant. I don't feel like I've gained the weight as quick and as like everywhere, so that's one thing. I have been so tired, I'm bored of being tired. But I think it's a combination of my body knows how to be pregnant and I've done it before, so it's just like following suit, and having a child. Having a child anyway, I'm tired. but then being pregnant on top of that is just extreme. So that's been different. My cravings have been completely different this time. What else? I felt movements a lot sooner, but then again, it's sort of like my body knows what it's doing and I know what to look out for. Like, I can imagine if I was properly looking out for movements last time, I would have felt them, but I probably just put it down to like a dodgy tummy, whereas this time I was lying in bed and I was like 16 weeks and I was like, that was a definite flutter. And now it's like, sometimes I can feel it move, but it's still quite irregular, and that's one thing that I don't like within pregnancy. It's not consistent movements until like, is it 26, 28 weeks? So again, it's just like, oh, I haven't felt the baby move in like 2 days, what's happened? And then you feel it move, and it's just one of those battles. I can't think what else is different. Everything about me is different as a person. I've changed so much from 2000, like being a mum has changed me and changed my life, obviously, but it's changed my personality and absolutely everything. Like in 2015 when I was pregnant with P, I was working part-time, so that has changed, and I think that affects the pregnancy. Like obviously working and stuff, I'm now just like I'm a full-time mum in the week and I work in the weekend sort of thing, so that is different as well. So I think that does have an effect. I've had a couple of questions along the sort of same line of, let me try and word it, like, will we be doing anything differently when the baby's here? I don't know, because when the baby's here, it'll be 4.5 years since I had a newborn. I think, not blowing my own trumpet, I feel like this time I'm going to be a lot more confident in my decisions and being a mum, because I've done it. I've done it for 4.5 years and I know what I'm doing. I remember when I had P, all the time, I'm not a maternal person, and I think people are like, you're not maternal but you're having children. Just because I'm not maternal doesn't mean I don't want children. I love P and this one in my stomach and my cat, but other people's kids, like when my friends had their babies, I don't have that feeling of, oh my god, I need to have a baby. Like, I don't get that rush of like anything. I'm like, it's just a baby. I don't get that at all. But I just feel like I'm more confident in life as a mum. So I remember when I left the hospital, honest, I don't know if I've ever told the story on my YouTube before. We were young. I was 22, Neil was 26, and we'd never really had much experience with babies before, because again, Neil's not that maternal either, which I think is why we work so well together. Put P in the car seat, which we knew what to do, and then we drove to KFC. I sat in the back seat and I was just sat in the back seat with this child, and I was like, all right, don't really know what to do. Like, am I supposed to be holding your hand, stroking your head? She was asleep. I was like, I don't really know what to do. Like, it just felt really weird. I guess I didn't get that big old wave of like, oh my god, I need to protect you, I need to care for you. I just didn't know what to do, so I just sat there in silence, just kept making sure she was alive. Neil got KFC, we went home and she was asleep in her car seat, so we just left her asleep in her car seat, watched The Apprentice and had our KFC, and then we took her out, and then we just sort of had to get her ready for bed. And I remember changing her nappy for the first time. Bear in mind, I'd never changed a nappy in my life, and I felt really inappropriate, and Neil was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I've never touched someone's parts before. Like, I felt like I was invading her privacy. Obviously I know that's what you need to do, but because I've never done it, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how many ounces of milk the baby needed. I didn't know it was 1 scoop per ounce. Like, I had no clue. I can't believe I'm 4.5 years in and still keeping her alive. So I think that aspect of just getting in, getting involved, being mum, knowing what I'm doing, I think is going to be completely different. What else? What would I change? I'm going to be using dummies, so that's not going to be changing. I think life is going to be different with a newborn, with a second baby anyway, because they just fit in. P will be at nursery 2.5 days a week, and then eventually she'll be going to school, so the baby will just fit in with me. I remember when I had P, I was very much like, it's 9 o'clock feed. Right, now it's 9:30, 9:45, nap time, up at 10:30. Like, I was very, like, on routine. Whereas I think this time, I'm going to have to be up, dressed, get P dressed, have breakfast, get the baby fed and dressed and everything by 8:15. So I'm gonna have to be on it in that respect, and the baby, if the baby's hungry, have a partial feed, have your dummy on the school run, and then we'll come home and do a feed. It's just gonna have to fit in around our current routine. The only thing that I can think of now that I will change is the first 2 weeks. And again, it's not something I've really spoken about on my channel, because I never filmed it. First 2 weeks for me, like I've just said, I'm too light for a start. I had no clue what I was doing being a mum, and I felt like I had to look like I had my shit together. So, full face of makeup, and I'm not talking, like, my makeup now is minimal. I was putting on foundation to have guests come over, and I felt like I had to put on a front, and this is all me, it's not pressures from family or anything like that. It was all in my head. I guess through watching mummy vloggers, I felt like I had to look like I had my shit together. So I would squeeze myself into clothes to make it look like I'd lost the weight, and I would put full face of makeup on, and we would have guest after guest after guest come over, and I would put on this front like I acted like I knew what I was doing, and I was like the best mum in the world and all of that stuff. I will be doing it completely different this time around. When we had P, we wanted to make the most of the time we had together in the 2 weeks. And I don't want to paint Neil in a bad light, but he was like, let's just get all the visitors out of the way, let's get it done, then we can have the rest of the time with just us. And I was like, yeah, great, good idea. Looking back, that was not a good idea. I remember P was 2 days old. My milk had just come in. You know the size of my boobs, imagine that. Not fun. I struggled to wee because of childbirth, and we had Neil's friend, Neil's dad, my dad, within like a 3 to 4 hour time span. Like, they overlapped, and I remember feeling so overwhelmed, I went into the bedroom and just burst into tears. And during that time as well, like, I was really angry at myself. I was like, why am I crying? Like, why? Like, I should be really happy, I should be really excited, but your hormones are all over the place. You're so, like, in overdrive. You're tired, you don't know what you're doing, especially with your first. And I felt so overwhelmed, and I just went into the bedroom and cried, and I was like, are you okay? I was like, I don't know, like, my eyes are just leaking water, I don't know what's going on, I don't feel great, like, I'm just overwhelmed. And I remember that day thinking, if I ever do this again, I'm not having a train of people coming to my house. I'm not making tea, I'm not washing up their mugs. I might potentially buy polystyrene cups, because I'm not doing it this time around. I've got not only one child, but a baby to look after. I'm not standing there making tea. I don't know if I'm going to come, I feel like I'm coming across quite bitter, because looking back on my 2 weeks that I had, obviously when Neil was on paternity, it was just hard to adjust. I think this time around I'm going to be a little bit more laid back, just because obviously I have P. But I just don't want to feel like I have to share my baby straight away. And I guess that is pressure from family, not that they would vocalise it, but grandparents and brother-in-laws and stuff, they would want to come and see the baby. I get it, it's an exciting time for everyone, but I think people need to learn to be respectful and say, we're here if you need us. I'd love to come and visit, but let me know when's best for you. We'll see. No visitors at the hospital, 100%. I'm not even going to get into that on my channel because that's just a bad experience for me. No visitors. I probably won't even let anyone know that the baby's arrived until like we're a day or two in. Even family just giving a call, because I don't want that feeling in the back of my head. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes this time round. Whether I'll be chilled, uptight, I'm not too sure. I feel like I don't even know where I went with that question, but that is what I'll be doing different. Will you be going back to work or take a year off? I am planning on going back after the 9 months, so I think it's pretty shit actually. I will be going back December time, I think. If I'm due March, I think it's December. But it's fine for me because previously when I was working Monday, Friday, 1 till 5. So I think they were going to offer me 2.5 full days. I'm not too sure because I never had the chat because I didn't go back. I had no childcare and I wasn't ready to go back in the week, pay for nursery because I don't have childcare with family. Like I wasn't ready for that. When I didn't go back last time, my uncle was still here. My uncle got diagnosed with terminal cancer, and during that time I went and helped out at their local village shop, and that was sort of my work per se, but I was just helping family. So this time round my job is completely different. I work at weekends, so I know that if I return back to work my weekends, I don't work every weekend. My shifts are rotated around Neil's on call. He's an engineer and he does 1 in 5 Monday through Monday, so he comes home but he'll work Saturday and Sunday, so my rota is rotated around Neil. So he might work the first weekend of the month and then I might work the next 2, or we'll have Neil on, me off, me on, etc, etc. So I feel confident and happy to obviously leave my baby and P in the care of Neil, because that's just how it works. Whereas previously when I was working, we didn't have that because I wasn't working weekends. It wasn't an option back then. So yeah, I'll be going back to work. It doesn't faze me at all. I might feel different and feel sad that I'm missing out on family time, but I would have had 9 months for that. So, and we still get 1 or 2 weekends a month depending on a 4 or 5 week month. We announce the gender and the name. I've obviously said about the gender, but we won't do the name until the baby's arrived. I feel like only Americans do that, and I'm not doing that. What names have you shortlisted? Have you found the task easy? Did you decide on P's name quite quickly? So I have names and I've given up with Neil. I suggest a name and Neil's like, no, I don't like it. I don't like that. No, it's hideous. And he just comes up with the name Jean for a girl and John for a boy. They aren't serious names. He's taking the piss. And I've had enough of it. So I have taken control of baby names. And this is exactly what happened last time when we had P. Neil liked... What did he like with P? I really liked Francesca when I had P. Because I liked names that you can abbreviate. I don't like that name now. And Neil then decided halfway through my pregnancy that he liked that name with P last time. He hated the name Phoebe. He absolutely despised it. And here we are, 4.5 years on, with a girl called Phoebe. So I think it's just... I think it's hard for him especially because we don't know what we're having. Like I know my names that I like. One of the names that I love for a girl is Tabitha. Neil hates it and I know that we won't use it, which is why I've said it in the video. But I like how you can have different names, so Tabs, Tabby and then Tabitha. I think it's a beautiful name. It doesn't necessarily go with P's name, but I just love it. I think it's hard for him to visualise a baby with the name until he knows the gender. So I have names, we're just waiting to find out the gender so then we can work our way through my list of what Neil likes, what he doesn't like. I do find it difficult 4 girls' names, even though I do have a couple, because I picked my favourite girl name, which is P. And my taste did change, so when P was born, if she was to be a boy, she would have been a Thomas, but I've completely gone off that name now. So yeah, I picked P's name quite early on. We'd never call her Phoebe, ever. In my tummy she was just baby P, and then she was born and she was just little P, baby P, P, and it's still stuck. And a lot of our family call her P as well. Are you going to try breastfeeding this time or bottle feed? I didn't breastfeed with P. I remember getting a few sarky comments actually, looking back on it, of like, you're not even going to give her the good bit? No, it's fine. I feel like, breastfeeding, bottle feeding chat is, you're either one or you're the other, and it's very difficult to sit down and talk about it without judgment. I have massive boobs. I am currently, I think I'm a 36K, about to go into an L cup. Can you imagine that? Full of milk. Imagine that, trying to get your boob out discreetly. I'm sorry, I couldn't think, call me selfish all you like, I couldn't think of anything worse for me. Again, yeah, I'm selfish, I don't care. Potentially, is the word malnutrition? Like, your baby's not getting enough milk because you might not be able to produce it. Is it called mastitis when your nipples like get infected or something? I don't want that. I don't want cracked nipples. I don't want to have to get my boob out to feed a baby every 2 hours, 3 hours, and I can't see how much milk they're having, and I just don't like it. I think because of the size of my boobs, it's always put me off, and it just makes me feel quite uncomfortable. I don't like areas being touched within my boobs. I hate my boobs. I'd chop them off with kitchen scissors if I could. Yeah, breastfeeding is just not for me. I remember going through, like I said, when I had P, like oh, you're not even going to give it a try? Oh, you're not going to do this? No, I'm not. If you want to do that, then that's fine. But for me, bottle feeding is easier. It gives Neil the chance to bond with the baby as well. Obviously, we're going to have P as well. So I don't want to have to be stuck in a room trying to learn how to breastfeed with a baby when P might just want to spend time with me. Like, Neil can feed the baby, I can play with P, vice versa. It's easier, and that Tommy Tippy prep machine is just incredible. So, haters gonna hate, I love bottle feeding. Is this gonna be your last child? 100%. I had a comment saying, are you still gonna be doing YouTube, or are you gonna give it up like Ellie? Ellie didn't quit. Ellie had a baby and is raising her children and getting her life back on track with having 2 children. And I don't know what I am going to be like in this situation. I have the idea that, yes, okay, I'm still going to upload, potentially take a month off uploading. I could have pre-recorded videos up, but it's still the replying to comments and being on my phone and things like that, that I just, at the moment, my headspace isn't there, and I don't think when I have a baby, obviously YouTube's not going to be my priority. It's not a job for me. I do it as a hobby. I don't get paid. I don't get ads. I don't work for brands. I don't want to come across like an arsehole when I say I get nothing out of it, but technically I don't. It's just all about like my communication with my viewers. It's not like I don't even know mummy vloggers anymore. It's not like, well, Mrs. Meldrum doesn't do it full time. I don't even know. It's not like I am Emily Norris and it's my day job. It's not. So I don't think that, so me taking time off is fine. I am worried that if I take time off that I'm not going to want to come back, if I'm being completely honest. I've uploaded, hit or miss, a couple of times. I've uploaded twice a week for like 4 years. That's a long time. That's a lot of content, and I've been in the rhythm and I've never not done it. So taking a long time off is a little bit of a worry for me, but we'll see. And again, I don't know what I'm going to want to film, because if you've watched me for a while, you'll know that I've started holding back on the vlogs and doing more sit down book chats like this. Still do like my secondhand finds hauls, but I keep my vlogs to a minimum now, unless it's like Vlogmas or we're going on holiday, just because I want to try and keep P off the internet. I don't like the fact she finds it normal talking to a camera. Like she'll get her wooden camera out, or like her little VTech thing, and start talking to the camera like it's the normal thing. It's not normal at all, and it makes me feel quite uncomfortable. It also makes me feel quite uncomfortable that a lot of people out there know quite a lot about my child, and through that you can get judgment, and that's fine. I am putting us on a platform, you're going to get that, but I don't know, I feel like I need to scale back, especially as she's starting school next year. I don't want to keep putting my family online. Neil doesn't like being on YouTube. I think that comes across quite clear. He's just not interested in it. He's a 30-year-old guy who likes to play FIFA, spend time with his family and go to work. Like, this is not his thing. He'll be involved slightly, but that's it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like doing sit-down videos. It's just not him, and I can't force him to be involved in that. So having a newborn, like, my unit is going to be surrounded that, so it's going to be hard to try and film and find the balance and figure out how much I actually want to share. So it'll be in the moment thing. Someone that I watch on YouTube, I'm not going to name names, she had a baby, and I think she's uploaded maybe 5 vlogs already, and the baby's like 6-7 weeks old, and I think just take time off and live in the moment. And that's one thing that I've really done this year. I know a lot of you say like, oh, I really miss your vlogs. I'm just living in the moment. I'm not going to get this time back, and I think it's really crucial. And so many YouTubers don't live in the moment, and I think it's so sad. So I will film what I feel like is appropriate. I'll probably film a lot, but I will share online what I feel like is appropriate. Was that a rant? I don't know. Are you having any cravings? So my cravings this time are completely different to what I had with P. I have been loving mash. Like, I just want all the mash. Salt and vinegar crisps, mainly Pringles, but I'll take like a salt and vinegar twisty thing, you know those? Them. Onion rings, like the actual crisps. Tomatoes with salt, celery with salt and Marmite. Gravy, stuffing and Yorkshires just in a bowl. What else? Pickled onions, olives, like all the salty stuff. When I had P, my cravings were lemons. I was literally just cutting up a lemon, breaking it in half. It makes me salivate just thinking about it, and just eating the segments of lemon. That was an incredible time of my life. But yeah, I gained a lot of weight with her. And I've gone off tea, chocolate, biscuits. I've gone off cooking meat, like cutting up a chicken. I haven't really bought much chicken. I've really gone off that. Yeah, I would say that's it for now. Will you be sending this one to nursery, or will you be doing the same as P? So obviously it's quite self-explanatory, like I've already said. I will be doing as I've done this time, so I don't need to send this child to nursery because I'm working weekends. If my circumstances change and I get a new job, then obviously what will be, and we'll have to see. But for the moment I'm happy. I'm changing the dynamic of having a baby. I couldn't imagine changing my job as well, so for the meantime I'll be like full-time stay-at-home mum, Monday to Friday, working at weekends. And then the baby will go to nursery when it's 3. So I had quite a couple of questions like this, and it is along the lines of, if you have a boy, will you eventually move house again? If you have a girl, will she share? Will you still move? Like, what's the bedroom situation going to be? My house, my bungalow, we rent. We moved in here October 2018, so we've been here just over a year. I want to stay here as long as we can, and if we could ever eventually buy it, I would. It needs a lot of work realistically being done to it, It's currently only a 2-bed, so we would need to extend, potentially go up, go out for a 3rd bedroom. I want to stay here for as long as I can if we aren't able to buy it, because I absolutely love the bungalow. I love the location. If you aren't aware and you're new, since we moved round the corner. Our old house was here, we went down the road and turned right, and that's where we live. We are, one letter has changed within our postcode. I love the area that we live in. We are close to everything. We're like 25 minutes, 30 minutes to the beach. We're 10 minutes from the city. I've got good schools around me. Like, I love where we live. I don't want to move. For what we pay here, we wouldn't get the size, the spec. I don't want to live in a house. I love living in a bungalow. So I don't want to move. So I'm going to make this place work for as long as we can. Obviously the baby's going to be in with us for the first 6 or so months, depending on how the sleeping is, how quickly the baby grows out of the like Moses basket and out of the next to me crib and things like that. So baby will be in with us. Then, depending on how the baby's sleeping and how P is, they will share. It's a tricky one, but you just have to make do with the situation that you're in. We're not in the situation that we can move. We can't afford to pay over £1,000 for agency fees to look for another place and go through the checks and all of that. We can't afford that. So they will share. Whether we swap rooms, so me and Neil will go into the front, and then Neil and and then P and the baby will then come into the back, because this is a bigger room. That might be an option. Worst case scenario, we can lose either the sitting room or the dining room and have a sitting room come diner come playroom, and then have a bedroom, and then we can all have a bedroom. That might potentially happen in the long run, I don't know. But for now, in with us, assess the situ, and then we'll just take it from there. I had a couple asking about P and how do I think she'll cope with sharing attention, and how do I think she'll cope with a baby. Let me just say that P loves babies. She's more maternal than I am, and she's 4, well, almost 4. She loves children, she loves babies, she loves getting involved. A lot of my friends, I was the first to have P, I was the first of all my friends to have a baby, and now all my friends have had seconds. So I'm like the last person to have a second. She loves getting involved with my friends' babies, whether it's to give them a cuddle. She always asks, can I carry the baby? And it's like 10 weeks old. I'm like, definitely not. As soon as the baby's crying, she'll come to get me or my friend. She's like, baby's crying, needs its dummy. Like, she's so on it, and she just loves it. We went for breakfast yesterday with Ellie, and P wouldn't sit down. She just had to stand and just watch baby Elliot, and she was just consumed by it. So I think having a baby she's fine with, but it's not mine. And I'm not the one that's busy feeding or changing a nappy or preoccupied with things you have to do with babies. My friends' children, they go home at the end of the day, and P doesn't like noise. If a car goes past or if the TV is too loud, she'll be like, too loud, too loud. And if a baby's crying, I don't know how she's going to deal with that. It's going to be hard. I'm not naive to the fact that it's going to be probably the hardest thing I've ever done, not only for us, as in me and Neil, but also for P. How do you explain to a 4-year-old that a baby's going to come and to live at your house forever? She says that she gets it, but I don't think that she does. Like, when the baby's up and crawling, she's got to be careful that the baby doesn't put Shopkins in its mouth, whereas at the moment they're fucking everywhere. So she's got to be careful with things like that, and I think it's going to be a hard balance. She'll get there. I'm sure she'll regress at some point. I know a lot of children do. But we're just going to have to all take it in our stride. A lot of my friends have said that it's been really tricky, and you get so much mum guilt for your first when you have your second, because they are your life, and then a second comes in, you've got to then split yourself. and they feel bad that, like, I know a lot of my friends are like, I feel bad because my little girl's playing on her own, or little boy's playing on his own. P does that anyway. She's quite independent and likes playing on her own. But I can imagine she's going to regress in the sense that she's going to be wanting me to play and doing things with her quite a lot more than what she is now, because she'll know that I can't. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I've tried, like, since I knew I was going to start trying for a baby, I've been trying to get her to do things more independently. So previously I used to lift her and put her in the car seat and do all of that stuff. Now she climbs in on her own, she gets out on her own. I obviously have to do the straps and stuff, but she's able to climb in as long as I've opened the door. So I can open the door, she can climb in, get comfy, I can put the baby in, strap the baby in, and then strap P in, and that's fine. That's a new thing that I've brought in. A bit TMI, but also wiping her behind after she's done something on the toilet. I always do that, but now if I'm feeding a baby and I can't be there in a second, I want her to learn to do it herself. I feel like a 4-year-old should do that. I'm not too sure. I'm just really like OCD about cleanliness and like hygiene. So I'm trying to encourage her to do that by herself. So when the baby's here, it's not like a, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to put your shoes on. Like, she's already doing it. It's not like a massive shift. So I'm doing what I can. So if you've got any tips of like other things I can get P to do on her own, obviously with my guidance, I'm not going to be like, well, baby's here, deal me out. I'm not going to be like that. But there are other little things that you can think of that can help in the long run. Leave them below. Okay, so another question I had is, are you worried how you would cope with 2? As obviously we have seen you through the really hard times with P in the past, and where you have said that this has put you off having a second. I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. I'm not even going to sit here and lie and be like, oh my god, I'm so excited, it's going to change my life. It's going to change my life. Of course it is. And I am excited. However, I am terrified as to how structure, routine, life as I've known it for the past 4 years is going to be. I know, like, some people are like, oh my god, I can't wait to expand my family and things like that, and I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel like sorry, I'm dark again. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't feel like it was the right decision. However, it still absolutely terrifies me that I'm going to be a mum of 2. Oh, I don't know, I feel like it's really, really bad to say, like really bad, because it's really bad and hard to talk about it because no one talks about it. But being a mum is hard. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, it's so demanding. Like, it's crazy. But like I said at the start of the video, I feel so much more confident in my mothering abilities. Don't get me wrong, I don't feel like I'm the best parent in the world because I know that I'm not. But I know how to be a mum. And I feel like as long as you got that down, you're alright. I am scared. However, I loved the baby stage when I had P. Apart from the sleepless nights, like, no one enjoys that. Apart from that, I absolutely loved it. Like, it was the best time. It was when she hit 2 and became a toddler, that's when I really struggled. And that's what I'm worried about this time around. I know I'm going to struggle when I have another toddler because P's going to be completely out of that phase by then. She'll probably be in a completely different phase, being 5 or 6 when the baby's 2. 6? 7? Oh, I don't bloody know. But each stage has its struggles and its highs and its lows. And I sort of know what to expect. I think that was the thing, was that with P, I didn't have a bloody clue what to expect, when things would change, when things happened and all of this. So when I had it with her, I was like, "Poor, this isn't fun, I didn't sign up for this." But actually, I got through it. I've raised her really well. So many people come to me and tell me how polite she is and how well mannered and all of that. And I think I've done it once, I can do it again. And then I'll just get cats. If I want more children, which I don't think I will, I'll just get multiple cats. So yeah, we'll see. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a shift. It's going to be a dynamic. It's going to be hard for us not to have our bedroom. I remember when I had P, I wouldn't talk, or I'd text Neil, or would whisper. So not having our bedroom to ourselves is not going to be fun. I'm going to have to get like so many books on my Kindle because I'm going to be wanting to read. And you can't really do that with a bed. Like, oh, I'm not even going to talk about things because it's too late now. I had a couple questions about financial things. So, are you concerned about extra financial pressures of a mouth to feed, blah blah blah. And then I had one, where was it, right at the start, not a dig, but you say you can barely afford things with one child, how are you going to deal with two? When I said that statement, I was in the headspace where I hated children and didn't want one ever again. And I was in a very negative headspace, and I completely was shut off to the idea of babies. The amount of comments I used to get, you have baby number 2, oh wait until you have baby number 2, baby number 2, baby number 3, baby number 4. And I just had enough of people, not even just viewers, family. Oh, Phoebe is such a great big sister. Like, it made me feel shit about myself. So I was like, I can't afford it. Don't get me wrong, children, babies aren't cheap, but babies aren't a money pit. I can't believe how much stuff we had to fork out for P for our first. And I think that's another thing I had in my head, was when we had P, we had nothing because we had Rue. That was it. Rue was our first child. If you don't know who Rue is, it's our cat. So we had to buy the travel system. We had to then eventually buy the stroller. We had to buy all the weaning stuff, all the clothes, all the baby stuff, just everything that you need to get in life or get through life with a baby, we had to pay for, which is crazy. It's so much money. So now, looking at it with fresh eyes, not a negative headspace, we can afford it because I don't need to buy a new stroller. Ellie, who's obviously just had Elliot, I say just, he's like 11, 12 weeks old. She was like, fuck it, this is going to be my last, so I'm going to buy everything brand new. I can't afford to do it, and I can't justify that. I liked my pushchair, didn't love it, would potentially get a new one if I had more money, but it's a perfectly working big like pushchair. It's got the travel, like this little system, so you can have the car seat on it, and then you can have the carrier, like the baby cot, and then it turns into a chair. Why replace something that's not broken, in my opinion? So I'm not selling any of my old stuff and spending more money and buying new stuff. I'm reusing what I've got, and then I'm going to sell the stuff because I don't need it. I've been hoarding everything since P was born. My attic looks like a Next outlet. It's full of girls' clothes. So if I find out I'm having a boy, follow me on Instagram because I might start selling all of P's clothes, which hurts my soul. I have so much attachment to objects and clothing. So yeah, financial wise, I don't know whether I had my cleaning job when I would have said that, but I'm now doing my cleaning contract at work, so I work, like I've been saying, at weekends, and then I also do my cleaning contract over the weekends as well, so that's a little bit of extra income. I'm also going to be bringing back my dummy clips, so that'll be a little bit of extra pocket money, if you want to call it that. And like things, life changes, situation changes. When, like back in the day, not when I made that comment, I can't remember when I made the comment. When we had P, we had 2 cars, we had one each, and Neil had his work van. Now we only have 1 car, so we've scaled down and things like that. So you make what you have, and again, like I always say, my shopping habits have changed. I shop second hand, I meal plan, like everything's changed from first time round. So I think it's just your headspace. Yeah, okay, I need to cut back on my spending a little bit because I have been a little bit like that. Not like I have that, but I have been like throwing the cash out a little bit. But it's coming up to Christmas, so I've been buying presents and things like that, toy sales, all of that. But just bought my Panto tickets. But then again, buying in advance is saving me money in the future. Like my Panto tickets, they've cost me £30. The baby will get in for free because it'll be under 3 years. It'll be like 9 months old. So that because I got the cheap tickets because they were £10 because they're out like a year and 3 months before. previously that would have cost me maybe like £55–60. So it's all about how you shop as well. So financial things, it is what we make it. I don't cook expensive meals, so like when it comes to feeding the baby, purees are cheap to do. I don't buy ready-made purees. I make them myself and do it that way. So that's cheap and easy to do. You have a plan for P when you go into labour. This is one thing that I've really been struggling with. That is the unknown. Previously with P, I had no worries. I had a cat. I didn't have to worry about like when I'm going into labour, like if it happened in the middle of the night, like, oh, am I red? How exciting. Whereas this time I have a child to worry about. My due date is on a Thursday. I went 2 days over with P, so if I'm following suit, might potentially have a baby at the weekend, which would be idealistic. If it happens in the night, not too sure. Basically my plan, it might be really weird to everyone, but the closest person I have in my life is Ellie. I don't really know if I should say it. I just trust Ellie with my life. I trust her more than my family. I trust her more than my in-laws. She is literally like my right arm. And whatever happens, I think P will either go to Ellie's house, P might be collected from school from Ellie, like whatever happens, Ellie is going to be involved. So whether Ellie has to come here, we have to drop P off, pick up from school, whatever happens, a bag will be packed. I'll give Ellie a spare front door key and I'll just leave it down to them to figure out what happens. We'll see. I don't know. I can swing past Ellie's on the way to the hospital if I need to. The only thing that I do know is that whatever happens in the situation, I want to be at home with just Neil and P when P meets the baby. I don't want her to meet the baby in hospital, ideally. Again, I'm going off of what I had with P in my birth textbook. I was in and out within, I think I got to hospital at like 1. She was born at 1:16. No, at 2:16, sorry. I went in fully dilated, ready to push. I was out and discharged by 7:30. Like, it was textbook. So if I'm going by that, cool. Again, I might, if that is what happens, I might potentially get P the next day, so then we can have the first day at home with the baby. Obviously going through childbirth, whether it's easy like mine or harder and you have like an episiotomy or whatever, like your body's been through trauma, so to have that one day would be nice. Ellie is fully aware, like obviously she's my plan, and she's completely fine with that. I don't know if that's going to come across really bad and like you don't trust your family, but I don't even have any words. Ellie is my family. So, looking for such a long time. So, thanks for sticking with me. I apologise if I've bored you. Sorry if I've come across quite bratty or selfish or like don't like being a mum. I do. I just want to share that it's not all sunshine and roses like vloggers make it out to be like. Because let me tell you, when I used to watch mummy vloggers when I was pregnant, when I used to watch those videos when I was pregnant, that's not reality. Honestly, I felt like I'd been hit by a bus when I first had P. I was like, this isn't what they showed. Where's my coffee date? Like, this isn't what this vlogger did. Yeah, it's not like that. So, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna have some lunch. I'm gonna hate editing this video, but I hope you enjoyed it. I will probably do another Q&A towards the end of my pregnancy. So if you've got any other questions, keep them for then. This was fun. I answered so many questions. Right, I'm gonna go, stop talking, and I'll see you all in my next video.